Hello, everybody. It is I, Mara Mihatis, aka the Blu-ray Bodhisattva. Today, I'm going to just go on a rant to talk about a lot of different things. It's been a while since I've made my last video. There are a lot of things that are occurring on the world stage that have been in development now for months and for years. And I, as an astrologer, have been talking about a lot of the major transits that have been going on for the last 4 or 5 years. And so much of what I have to say is a reminder to you all that we are now finally beginning to see a lot of the things that I have been so um, passionately trying to get you all to understand as an astrologer. And I know many of you guys know and already understand this in your own way, but I'm trying to really highlight and make the connections of the astrological transits happening now, the astrological transits that have happened in the far distant past that are similar to the transits that are happening now. And and connect that to what we are seeing today using pattern recognition, intuition, common sense, and the science of astrology to kind of um, get a bigger overall sense and a deeper meaning and purpose of what we're moving through as a global society. There's a lot going on here astrologically. And just to remind you all, we now have Pluto in Aquarius, and we've been dealing with Pluto in Aquarius now for this whole year, basically. And that's a big deal because before Pluto entered Aquarius, Pluto had entered Capricorn and was in Capricorn from 2008 all the way until very recently. So for about 16, 17, 18 years, Pluto was in one sign, Capricorn. And now Pluto is in Aquarius. So that's a huge shift in consciousness of Plutonian energy. For the last 16, 17 years, we have been living and developing as a society and evolving as a society through the Plutonian energy expressions in the sign of Capricorn, and now that Plutonian energy is expressing itself and helping to evolve humanity through the energies of Aquarius. And Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So there's a lot transpiring with just that alone. So I want to talk about the Pluto and Aquarius energy and just kind of bring up a lot of all the old things that I've mentioned in the past in articles and in other videos. And the other thing I want to talk about is Neptune. Neptune is now in Aries. However, Neptune is retrograde and will regress back into Pisces for a few months until January of 2026. Neptune retrograde will then re-enter Aries and then be in Aries for the next 14 years, I believe. Okay, so we want to talk about that. And before Neptune entered Aries, Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012 all the way until this year. So from 2012 to 2025, what is that? That's another 12, 14 years of one major planet expressing and of influencing humanity through one sign and making a sudden shift. Okay. And then the other thing we're going to talk about is um, Uranus in Gemini. All right. The last time Uranus was in Gemini was about 78, 70 so years ago. All right. In the 1940s, I believe from 1941 to 1948, 49. Is the last time we had Uranus in Gemini. And we're going to have Uranus in Gemini for the next 7 years. Well, the retrogrades, right? Uranus is in Gemini now and is retrograding and will re-enter Taurus. But by next April, going into the spring of next year, Uranus will then re-enter Gemini and be in Gemini for the next 7 years. All right. And to make things even more interesting with the Neptune transit entering Aries, is Neptune is so when a planet enters Aries, the very first sign of the zodiac, that planet is starting a new synodic cycle, is what it's called, a new synodic cycle. And that just means that this planet is now getting ready to move through all 12 signs, beginning at sign number one, all over again, Aries. So with Neptune and Pisces entering Aries, that's a big deal because Neptune is a trans-Saturnian planet, meaning Neptune is beyond Saturn's orbit. Neptune takes approximately 165 years to do one full rotation around the zodiac, to do one full rotation around all 12 signs. So 165 years is we're coming to an end, the end of a 165-year Neptunian cycle here. So with that, that's a big deal. But this Neptune synodic cycle is accompanied with by Saturn. Saturn is also beginning a synodic cycle. And Saturn takes about 30 years, 28 to 30 years to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. So Saturn is relatively um, faster moving planet than Neptune. But for Neptune and Saturn to be completing all 12 signs and starting a new synodic cycle together is a big deal. It is a big deal. It does not happen very often. And there are more layers to this Piscean energy that of the last sign of the zodiac here. Before Neptune and Saturn entered Aries earlier this year, at the start of 2025, when the North Node entered Pisces and the South Node entered Virgo, this was a big deal because then we had Neptune at the last signs, at the very final degrees of Pisces. We had Saturn in Pisces, and then the North Node in Pisces, all within a conjunction, and the South Node having to cross over Saturn and Neptune. Um, this is a big deal. The last time we had a combination of Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node all in Pisces was a long fucking time ago, going as far back as the 1400s, the mid 1400s, and see I wrote an article here, and the early 1200s. All right, so we're talking the years 12,000. All right, the years 12,000. All right, we're in 2025, so thousands of years ago. All right, or hundreds of years ago. It's a long time. And then we're talking the years 15,024 to 15,026. All right. Major things were going on during those cycles before. And I want to talk about all of that. So, um, yeah, it is a lot of things going on here. And beginning with the Pluto and Aquarius energy, many astrologers have been talking about this for the last few years, and we're going to keep talking about it because it's a big deal. With Pluto and Aquarius, we can see a lot of development and disclosure around technology, science, and sort of alien kind of topics, alien contact sort of topics. Basically, Neptune, the planet that reveals what has been kept hidden, that reveals secrets and exposes what is trying to stay hidden in the shadows. All right. Neptune is known as the Great Destroyer because Neptune will bulldoze and destroys any false illusions and lies in order to reveal the truths being hidden beneath the surface, which is why Pluto also governs death. Because when truths that have been kept secret, or when the unconscious emerges into our conscious awareness, there is an ego death process that has to occur. There is a dying process of what has to occur because the previous structure is now false. It is now false with the new information that has come to the light, and there needs to be an integration and a transformation. And part of integrating and transforming equals dying. There are aspects of the self, aspects of the identity, and aspects of what it currently was has to die and transform, and become more pure in itself, more true, more real. And Aquarius is the sign of the alien. Ruled by Uranus, Aquarius is the genius frequency of the zodiac. All right. And when I talk about the signs, I'm not talking about people's sun signs. I'm not talking about me being a Gemini, you being a Libra or a Cancer. I'm talking about the frequencies of the archetypal energies, the archetypal identities, the symbols. So when I talk about signs, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about what the frequency in its essence means. And that frequency in its essence can express itself in a multitude of different ways in an individual. All right. So don't get confused. All right. The frequency of Aquarius, that the archetypal energy of Aquarius is the genius of the zodiac. Aquarius is that energy that's future oriented. And part of being future oriented is to also be a rebel, to go against the status quo, to resist the traditions and norms, and to agitate. And in that structure of being a rebel and to agitate and to go against traditions and the status quo means being different. And sometimes through just being a rebel with or without a cause, just in being different, strikes evolution, strikes revolution. And the overall intention and purpose of that, whether if it's through positive means or negative means, is to accelerate or to push humanity and consciousness forward in evolving and expanding. Aquarius energy governs the internet, governs social media, governs technology, sciences, aliens, the future, engineering, any kind of thing that requires a profound level of thinking in a big way that literally can change society in itself. So, for example, railroads, right? Or, for example, the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel was created by an Aquarius, whose name was something Ferris, right? So the man who created the Ferris wheel did it at a time where many engineers and scientists believed that they didn't have the technology or capabilities to create the blueprints of the Ferris wheel. But the man, Mr. Ferris, knew that it was completely possible. He was an Aquarius. He was a genius. He can really see how it's possible to do this now. And he made prototypes because everybody else needed to see it to believe it. So he made a prototype demonstrating how, on a bigger scale, making the very first Ferris wheel is possible. And in that very first Ferris wheel that was created, it helps progress our understanding in and mechanical engineering. His invention helped us progress further as a society and a global society through the mathematics and the mechanical development necessary to produce a machine at that scale at that time in the late 1800s. Okay. So this is Aquarian energy. It's a genius energy that can come up with ways and things, whether philosophically or technologically, to advance society, to advance humanity. And one of the challenges, but also blessings that comes with Aquarian energy is that in order to help propel humanity, in order to download and bring in um, uh, more genius intelligence or systems, one has to be different. One has to be kind of weird or abnormal or going against what everybody else is doing. That's the mark of the genius, is being kind of crazy, being kind of different. All right. So Pluto being in Aquarius, remember, the planet that reveals, that exposes what's being kept hidden. Pluto in Aquarius is a time where there will be much revealing of all sorts of technologies that have been in development silently in the background, and technologies that have already been being rolled out and made and signed in contracts and agreements behind closed doors with people who are representing us, but not with our best interests. So what do I mean? What do I mean? I mean people like Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates would be the perfect example of an evil Aquarius, right? Because he's a genius in his own respect. He is genius in his thinking, and he thinks in massive global scales, right? He's thinking, okay, in vaccines and in foods and all sorts of things, right? So that is like the most negative, perfect example of the dark side of Aquarius. But there are all sorts of Bill Gates people just like him that have come up with patents, that have come up with technologies to infiltrate our food, our gadgets, our medical systems, everything. There have been all sorts of patents created and agreements made with governments, with agencies, to be rolling that out. And this is a period with Pluto being in Aquarius where we get to really discover the truths about these things. And we're seeing that now with pesticides, glyphosates, mRNA technology, a number of different things. Now, another category of interest that Pluto and Aquarius is going to be doing at this time is awakening consciousness within humanity to remember in their abilities to establish telepathic contact with extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional beings. So, with Pluto and Aquarius, there is also a revealing that we have a capability of accessing a more cosmic like a to be accessing a galactic knowledge, a cosmic memory. So there is a trigger of a cascading of memories also unfolding within humanity and being able to connect to star systems or star families or extraterrestrial beings. So there is a great revealing in that as well. Before Pluto entered in Aquarius, Pluto was in Capricorn, all right? And that whole Pluto and Capricorn transit, the last 16, 17 years, that whole transit was setting the stage for everything that's rolling out now. And the stage that got set was people coming online and realizing that government agencies cannot be trusted. There is a mass global systemic corruption going on. And that's why we have a huge wave, ever-growing wave of truthers, of conspiracy theorists, of people becoming sovereign in themselves, being able to see through the myriads of lies and deceptions of social engineering designed to control us and manipulate us by our governments. So that set the stage. And one of the things that also happened was certain things that our government has been keeping secret over the last couple hundred years, 250 years. And one of the main secrets, one of the most juiciest fucking secrets that has been a part of the whole Pluto Capricorn transit is what happened at Area 51. What really happened at 9/11? Are aliens real? Why are all these people suddenly talking about MK Ultra? Why are people all of a sudden saying that they've been to space and back and that they're a super soldier? How are these thoughts? Where are these thoughts coming from? The Satanic Panic. Everybody remember the Satanic Panic? What was that all about? Was there anything to it? It's bringing all of these sorts of things of the past kind of back into the forefront to be analyzed and connecting. And there's been a lot of revealing, right? Now people know who Michael Aquino is. Now people know about Epstein. Now people know about the royal families, the Majestic 12, that sort of stuff. All right. In I guarantee you that almost every single person that will watch this video ever did not know who Michael Aquino was before Pluto was in Aquarius. I guarantee you a lot of people weren't hip to the truths that they know now, that you know now, before Pluto entered Capricorn. And Pluto entered Capricorn 2008. So unless you knew all the conspiracies that you know now before 2008, then you're an OG. Then you are a real fucking OG. And our hats are tipped off to you because, without you, the rest of us wouldn't, find our way here. So Pluto and Capricorn set the stage, all right? It made us aware of what to look out for, what's really going on. And now that Pluto's in Aquarius, it's that next step of, okay, the aliens are here. We're seeing orbs. We're having abductions. People are remembering. There's Atlas 31, all sorts of stuff. So this is the next stage. We had the incident at the Miami Mall, which is still a mystery. So now things are going to get more realer. Things are going to get more realer in the previous cycle. So that's something to that I want you guys to remember right now is technology is going to get very interesting. We're going to experience in the next 20 years such a massive technological and industrial revolution right now. And AI is a huge part of it, okay? AI is not going anywhere. It is going to be a huge integrated part of society developing right now. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's not fucking going anywhere, no matter how much we can see about all of this and all the different views and perspectives. Because guess what? None of us are in the labs. None of us are in the fucking corporate meeting rooms. None of us have the money in investing into the scientists and the engineers and the fucking geniuses that have the capability to develop the technology. So all of us at the end of the day are only going to have opinions and what we want and what we don't want. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that what is going to happen will fucking happen, whether you don't want it or not. And yeah, anyways, I'm going on a rant here, but this whole video is just going to be a rant. So I hope you can keep up with it because I'm going to be dropping a lot of precious gems throughout this whole thing, and you just need to really listen to me here because I'm a Gemini sun, Gemini moon with the palace conjunct my sun and moon Gemini and Aldebaran on my moon with that conjunction, and that makes me a true bridge channel to communicate from higher intelligences. So I'm a channeler. And but with that amount of Gemini energy, my consciousness is very much expands and multifaceted, that I'm processing and looking at so many different things all at once in a quantum level. So for me to organize that is challenging. I don't have any Virgo in my chart. So organizing all of this is a little hard. And so it has to come out in just this raw sloppy form first, and then later I can refine, which is why my writing is a lot more refined and articulate than when I do videos, because I actually have time to think and organize. But all of the things that I want to say right now and in this video are way too much for it's way too much for me to write and organize. It just takes way too much time. So this is the more efficient way for me to get it all out here right now. So again, I'm just ranting right now, and you're just gonna have to flow with me, rock with me if you can. If not, that's fine. I'm not taking it personal. This will be archived. This will be in the YouTube ethers forever. So, Pluto in Aquarius, a lot of things, okay? Some other interesting things that I want to express to you about Pluto in Aquarius, right? Is Pluto, Aquarius governs the internet. Aquarius Aquarius is the most coldest energy of the zodiac. Yes, Aquarius is the zodiac that holds the frequency of genius and is alien from the future. But with that being said, being alien and from the future, that means Aquarius is coming from far, far distances in the galaxy, in the universe, which means further away from our sun, further away from our heliocentric solar system. And our heliocentric solar system, our sun, what does it do? It emits warmth, it emits heat, it gives love, life, compassion, passion, fire for the earth, right? And so the further out we go, the icier and the colder and the more distant it becomes. So this is one of the reasons why Aquarius has a profound capability of being detached, cold, emotionally detached, and very narcissistic at times. Aquarius energy has a very incredible potential to being very treacherous, very, very treacherous and powerful, because Aquarius, the frequency of Aquarius, has no emotions. I'm not saying Aquarius people, you as an Aquarius, doesn't have emotions. Remember, I'm talking about the archetypal frequency of Aquarius. We're humans, we have emotions, we feel. But the archetypal frequency of energy generally is not an energy that is full of emotions. It's full of intelligence, ingenious thought coming from a higher cosmic mind. And, and a higher cosmic mind does not deal with all of our mundane 3D identity politics. Because when we get into higher level of consciousness, all these things we hold on to in our identity politics, they fall away. They're not exist. They're a joke. They're beneath higher frequencies, higher intelligence. So all that to being said, Aquarius can be very cold. And in order to understand, what as an astrologer, or as someone who is interested in astrology, in order to really understand one component of a sign or a planet moving through a sign, you also want to consider the opposite sign. For a planet like Pluto moving through any sign, you also want to consider what is opposite of that sign, and how can we understand in a more deeper sense what Pluto moving in Aquarius means for humanity. So what is opposite of Aquarius? Opposite of Aquarius is Leo, all right? And Leo, what is the ruling planet of Leo? Leo is ruled by the sun, okay? So Leo is ruled by the sun. And so that means Aquarius is the sign that is furthest from the sun. because it's Aquarius is the opposite of the sun. It's Leo. So Leo energy ruled by the sun. Okay. Leo, I love Leo energy because without Leo energy, we'd have no fun. We'd have no compassion. We'd have no joy. We'd have no way to experience that joy and to be animated in our expressions. All right. So if you consider like the show Naruto, right? Naruto, and you look and you think of Sasuke and Naruto, right? Okay. Sasuke is the one who has to be cool, detached, and not show emotions, and is the genius, right? The prodigy, the one who's really gifted in his ninjutsu and his skills and his development, but he's always cool. He seems nonchalant and disinterested in everything, and all the girls and people look up to him and want his attention, but he just doesn't care, right? He's distant, no emotions, cold. Naruto, on the other hand, is full of fire, he's full of passion, and he's very expressive. And in comparison to Sasuke, Naruto's energy seems annoying, brash, loud, attention seeking, right? So this is one way to understand the opposites of Aquarius energy and Leo energy. Leo energy, ruled by the sun, wants attention, wants to be the center. Just like the sun is the center of our solar system, all the planets rotate around the sun. The sun ain't rotating around all the other planets. And the sun is what gives life, is what gives fire, and what gives heat. Without the sun, there'd be no life here on this planet at all. And the sun is ever giving. The sun never turns off, meaning that the sun never needs anything from anyone. Everyone needs that fire from the sun. So how that plays out into the frequency of Leo is the star. Leo is the diva. Leo is the one that is shining and is strong, has strength, and has courage to express their heart and to um, uh, be free in doing what it is that they love. So Leo is the energy of the performer, the energy of the king, the queen, the star, the diva. Um, and Leo is the energy of creation. Well, not creation, but of skills and being able to demonstrate those skills in a creative way, right? So think of all Leo performers. Jennifer Lopez, Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who else? These are Leo things. All that to say, the one of the important things about understanding this Leo energy being opposite Aquarius is Leo governs children. All right. Leo is the energy of children coming from the fifth house and the heart. All right. And Pluto is in Aquarius opposite. So the death rays of Pluto are in Aquarius beaming down into those Leo energies, which means children are targeted right now. Children are extremely targeted right now and um, are not in the consciousness of most people in a compassionate way, because that Pluto in Aquarius is going to make a particular collective of energies more cold and detached, and being able to feel their warmth and feel their heart, and realize how precious and important youthful childlike energy is in the world and children. And so that is something that is going to be attacked severely by deranged fucking collectives. And I say collectives because that's one of the things that Aquarius also governs is collectives, brotherhood, groups of people, societies. And in this modern age, there are so many different little niches of groups and societies and collectives, especially with the internet and social media. There's a society and a niche and a collective for all sorts of fucking things, good and bad. Um, and they all have a platform on the internet. So, um, internet, right? Internet. Aquarius governs the internet. Pluto is in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of death and taboos. Taboos, meaning forbidden, meaning bad things, forbidden. And Pluto is also a sexual type of energy. And what's forbidden sexual taboo, right? That boundary, that threshold of the youth, of children, right? Okay. So, and I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for years. One of the biggest things that's going to happen in the next 20 years with Pluto moving into Aquarius is that the everyday average person is going to be exposed to the shocking horror, the shocking evil that happens in those lesser known dark spaces of the internet, aka the dark web. All right. And one of the most lucrative fucking businesses that operates within the dark web is horrible, horrible, sick things against children. All right. So I've been saying, and so I've been saying this because I want you all to understand the correlations of where we've been, how it's been developing, and what's the next stages of within that development. And we got 20 years of Pluto and Aquarius, and there is a lot that's going to be revealed now and towards the end of that 20 years. And we're just getting fucking started on this. We're just getting fucking started on this. Um, the other thing about Leo energy is Leo energy is the performer, right? It's I have a song to sing. I have a gift to share. I have something that I want to create and demonstrate and show you all. I've invested my passion, my love, and my loyalty into something from out of my heart that I want to share with you all. And this could be so many, many fucking things, not just creating, not just actually singing a song. What I'm talking about here is being an individual that puts yourself in the light to be viewed by people, to be collectives, aka to standing out. So this is I don't want to say dangerous. I don't want to say dangerous at all, but this is definitely going to be a very pressurized time right now. The next 20 years is going to be it's going to be a pressurized time right now for those that have their own platforms, for those that are individuals, for those that put their heart into something that they love and they have to put themselves out into the world for the world to embrace or reject that love. Which means I'm saying all of this in relation to what happened to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was an individual and he had a lot of love. He had a lot of love for his country, he had a lot of love for his faith, and he had a lot of love for his values and what he believed in as an American in open dialogue, in talking and in debating, right? And he put himself on the world stage. He put himself front and center. He spoke his truth. He was different than the majority. Than he was different than the norm. I don't want to say he was different. He was going against the mainstream propaganda ideologies and holding down the integrity of what he believed in. And this is what I'm talking about here. This is what's anybody who is an influencer, a healer, or has your own podcast or social platform or whatever, you need to understand this. You need to really listen to what I've been trying to explain to you all for the last years, and what I'm explaining to you all right now is all of us that have our own platforms, all of us that speak our truth out into the light for all to see and hear and receive or reject or criticize. we are going to experience an increase in pressure in pressurization of being scrutinized by hive mind collectives that are hijacked in a major way. Um, which what I'm saying is like mobs of people who are just like fucking lost themselves. And if you stand out as something different from that, you're being attacked, you're being targeted. And that's what we saw happening with Charlie Kirk, right? Is that individuals right now face a higher risk. We all face a higher risk of being attacked by others, by groups, by, in all sorts of ways. And that's what we saw here with Charlie Kirk, right? And supposedly well, not supposedly, he was starting to question things going on with Israel, right? And me personally, reading into Charlie, feeling into him, I don't know much. I didn't follow his whole career or anything like that. I've only ever really seen his reels, and every time I've seen his reels, I've appreciated him for doing what he's doing because he's keeping an ancient art. He was keeping an ancient art alive, which was the art of dialogue, communicating with others, right? Um, anyways, where was I going with that? Anyways, I lost my track. Individuals, if you have your own platform, and you're expressing yourself, uh, this is an important time to really understand what Leo energy means and to tap into that for yourself. And Leo energy is courage and strength, right? Courage and strength, and one of the most important, self-love. All right. So I used to work with this Leo, and one time we were in a group meeting, and everybody had to say like one thing nice about the next person or whatever. And the Leo in the group, I said something nice about him, and I said, I wish that I could love myself the way he loves himself. Because this man, he would dress nice, nothing but nice clothes, expensive suits, expensive haircuts, looking good, looking fresh, and had all the etiquettes of being somebody, of a higher status, right? And anytime he'd open up his computer, his background, his screensaver were all like pictures of him looking like, all hot and fucking, established gentleman like that. Anytime he pulled out his phone, just, very attractive, standing next to like, luxurious cars and shit like that. And I remember I had asked him, I said, "Are you a Leo?" He said, "Yes." I'm like, "No, yeah, I can tell because of how much you fucking love yourself and are not afraid to be in love with yourself. You're not ashamed in the slightest bit. You're proud of it. You got all these people around you, and they can see when you open your computer. They can see when you check on your phone. They can see how much you fucking love yourself. And some people might think of that as some kind of weird self-obsession, narcissistic or whatever. But no, I see you, bro. I fucking see you, dude. And I fucking respect it because I don't have that. I don't have that level of confidence and integrated self-love that you have. That right there is power. That right there is strength. Okay. Now, this is what we all need to learn how to embody right now into the next 20 years, because for majority of people, they're going to become more afraid. They're going to become more afraid and shelled and hidden to step out into the light, to speak their truth. So we need courage right now to stand out against all the things, stand out against the left and the right, all the fucking things, and come into alignment with the more truer, higher template that is not entertaining any of this fucking fabricated bullshit that's been going on, right? Excuse me. So courage, strength, and love. We have to right now fortify ourselves to be able to step out on the stage and have maybe 50 to 80 to 100% of the audience booing you, criticizing you, coming up with different projections and thoughts of what they think they know about you, all sorts of fucking shit that you're going to see and pick up on all the nuances on how that you're being perceived as an individual stepping on the stage, getting ready to sing your fucking song. All right. Now we have to get to a point where it's like, all right, okay, I see, I see how you all are perceiving me. I see the ones who do really see the light that is me, and this here is for you. Meanwhile, all the audience, boo, piece of shit. I heard he's a handler. I heard he's this and that. I heard all this stuff. I have a screenshot of a post he made, blah, 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 boo. Right? And this, you have to, not be afraid, not hide, not dim your light, and sing your song, no matter fucking what. All right. So, all that to say is if you want to stand out right now, um, you're going to learn what it means to really walk your walk and talk your talk, and to not buckle down and be afraid of persecution or be afraid of being wrong, even of being wrong and being ridiculed, and crucified, for being wrong. All right. So this was a lot of Pluto and Aquarius energy that I want you guys to understand, that I want you guys to know. And there's so much more that I can say about this. A few years ago, I wrote an article that another thing that is going to happen with Pluto and Aquarius is the exposure of secret agents, of agents that have been implanted in communities to plant seed thoughts into groups of people all over the country, all over the world. And so, you got to think of this in like a military sense, right? So we have all the sleeper cells out there. We have all the people that have been, brainwashed, they've been conditioned, they chose a side, and then depending on what side they choose, they'll eventually land in a honeypot. When all the sides and all the honeypots are being operated by the same fucking puppeteers, all right? It's all whether if you choose to go left, liberal, fucking crazy trans, or whether you choose to go far right, Christian or whatever, all the fucking things are fabricated, and there are different honeypots understanding the psychological makeups of all people and the various different choice points people are going to make in their ideologies and their subjective interpretations, and based on experiences and confirmation biases that they may interface in their day-to-day walking living life. They're going to make choices, and they're either going to go left or right thinking that they're following something that is true to them, and then eventually meet with others, right, that are going to the same kind of situation, and then fall into a honeypot, and and then in those honeypots there are ringmasters. They start learning new terminologies. They start learning different distorted facts and all sorts of things. They start coming up with agendas and their own propaganda, right? All of that is being puppeteered. All the different layers are puppeteered and working up the same pyramid tip. Okay, so don't get caught slipping into any of these fucking dialectic tactics to fucking get you to go one way or the other, because it's all fucking fabricated bullshit here at this point. Um, so, um, what was I saying here again? Yeah, Pluto and Aquarius, big fucking thing. Oh yeah, the secret agents, right? Exposing the secret agents. Like who's really been fucking planting seeds and working behind, like there's so many things I want. Well, I want more to say on this right now about some of you fucking people that are out there in the community right now. And I see you. I see you. I see your tactics. And I see the rest of the people that don't see themselves. They're unconscious and the ways you're fucking manipulating it. Oh man, it's so it is it's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to watch how quickly people forget. How quickly people forget, how easily they get hypnotized and then how biased they become in seeing what's in front of them because you got they got okay, you got them, they got you guys got all right. Fucking idiots. Anyways, um so yeah, a lot going on there. All right, now want to talk about this transit going on here with Saturn and Neptune. All right. Um, Neptune starting a new 165-year cycle, right? The last time Neptune entered Aries was 165 years ago. And what was happening 165 years ago? Um, the Civil War began. All right. The Civil War began. Um, Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, anyways. Um Anyway, so yeah, the last time Neptune entered Aries was during the Civil War, all right? And Abraham Lincoln was president. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated during the Neptune and Aries cycle. Neptune is the planet that governs belief systems, imaginations, fantasies, delusions, other realms and dimensions, the supernatural, such as ghosts and cryptids and fairies and mermaids, those things that seem like they come from a place of legend and imagination that exists in a realm that may be fabricated from our own minds, or maybe it exists just outside the spectrum of what we can perceive and experience in the mundane 3D physical reality of things. This is Neptune. Neptune transcends the experience and perspectives into a scope that is that is beyond the bandwidth of this 3D mundane matrix system. So, and this is one of the reasons why Neptune governs the subconscious, because the subconscious, as we know, is where we can access the whole quantum realm. The subconscious part of the mind is incredibly powerful component of our human physiology. Within the subconscious mind, we can access the quantum realms. We can astral project. It is where we dream. It is where we perceive and create and imagine. The subconscious mind is where we can go into deep hypnosis and remote view, astral project, move our minds into the past, move our minds into the future. So Neptune is a very powerful planet that governs so many things, and and it's complex. Neptune is very complex to understand due to the fact that Neptune is deeply connected to the subconscious and quantum mechanics and manifestation in the matrix. Because depending on what is operating in your subconscious mind is going to be the result of what is then reflected back at you in your experiences living through the mundane, right? So if you have negative programming, negative conditioning, negative loop cycles that have been hardwired into your subconscious mind, then those frequencies that are playing in a loop in your subconscious mind, the universe is going to always respond to that back noise that's going on there, which will keep you in those cycles of poverty, of getting a ticket, of something happening that just keeps you stuck in certain situations, certain attitudes and behaviors. So the thing about what makes Neptune so profound in that it governs the subconscious mind is belief systems. What are we believing? What is quietly running the show in our subconscious mind? And how can we fix that? How can we heal that? Um, are the things that we are choosing to believe based on the experiences we've had in life true and real? Um, like for example, like for example, some people, and I remember seeing this so many times too, growing up in the hood, is like a lot of people, right? They'll say things like "I'm an asshole" or I'm a dick, I'm a real asshole, I'm a real dick. And you ever been around people that like try to act tough and they'll say things like that, like "I'm an asshole" or "I'm a dick" or whatever, "I'm just mean, I'm just rude." And then, but you really know that person, and you're like, no, you're not. Like, you're not an asshole. That's not who you are. I don't know why you keep thinking and believing that you're an asshole type of person. And I don't know why you think that that's who you have to be, but that's not who you are. So I don't know what's going on in your mind where you have to keep on identifying with this idea that you are an asshole or a bitch or a douche or that you don't like people, right? Um, and so it's things like that. It's like, okay, but is that true? Is what you're saying about yourself and your interpretations of the world, does that have to be true? Do you even really want that to be true? Is that actually what you want for yourself? Do you want to be a dick? Do you want other people to think that you're a dick? Or is there something more tricky operating beneath the surface of that all? And a lot of times, what is it? It's fear, right? It's fear. And people have a deep unconscious fear of rejection. And rejection is experienced in all types of forms. Rejection is the opposite of being accepted. And so we can experience rejection or the opposite of acceptance in a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. So, um, fear is a huge thing that silently is controlling everything in people's minds. And so we come up with all kinds of mind-bending interpretations of things where the core root of what we are programming our thoughts and our minds and our behavior is coming from fear. And a lot of times it's a fear of rejection because people don't know how to process rejection, or they have different responses to rejection. Getting punched in the face, that's a rejection. Getting rejected is not only just told no. It's just the opposite of being accepted. So yeah, Neptune and the subconscious mind, very, very powerful energy. But Neptune also governs Hollywood. Because what is Hollywood? What are movies? What is the television, right? The television is are lights holographically being projected to give you an image, and the television gives sounds and emits frequencies and gives you an illusion where you're watching a show. And what is the show? The show is something that has been scripted, that is birthed from someone else's imagination. They created a whole world, a whole reality from their dreaming or from their imagining, and then now created a movie for you to enter and watch and be a part of this this simulation. So Neptune also governs illusions and holographic projections. And guess what? Guess what? What is the mundane 3D reality? It's a fucking holographic projection. Nothing is real. Nothing is real. These are all perceived. These are all perceptions through senses of information that our brain, that our subconscious interprets and gives us the sensation and the gravity that we are existing in something real. It's a hologram. Neptune governs all of that. Neptune governs all of this perception, this quantum things, and being able to change and transcend it and bend and go against the laws of reality and shape that, which is why Neptune is also a planet of miracles. It's also the planet of miracles and the supernatural things and mysteries, things we can't explain, stargates, portals, aliens, dreams, the chupacabra, fucking cryptids, Bigfoot. These are all things that are governed by Neptune because anything that kind of goes against how we understand the mundane world, that falls under the category of Neptune. There's this supernatural, divine mystery to it all, right? So all that to say about Neptune is when Neptune goes into Aries, okay, anytime Neptune is transiting through the sign of Aries, Aries is the warrior, okay? Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, all about identity and the warrior and thinking about yourself. Aries is self first, is I am, all right? Opposite of Aries is Libra, which is other people. Libra is I think about other people before I think about myself. Aries is I think about me before I think about you because I'm fucking very important. It's very important for me to put me first. I'm selfish. That's Aries. So Neptune and Aries, um, there are negatives and positives to this, right? It all depends on how people are going to live through this, how they want to live through this. In the most positive sense, is this is an opportune time to be an entrepreneurial, to imagine a new world, to open yourself up to new ideas and to new imaginations of starting something new in the world. So this is the time to be uh, different and original and to come up with new ideas and walk your own path as an individual, bringing down your own codes, bringing down what it is that you want to do. So this is a beautiful opportunity during Neptune and Aries to anchor in your own codes, to anchor in your own codes, walking down your own path, and imagining the world that you want to live for yourself, right? I know that sounds really cliche or whatever, but that is one of the higher aspects of Neptune being in Aries is reigniting the visionary entrepreneurial spirit and actually taking action and trying to make dreams come true. Um, now, Neptune and Pisces, right? We're coming at the end of a Neptune Pisces transit. Neptune's going to go back into Pisces here next in 2 months in November. In 2 months, Neptune will go back. I don't know. That's Uranus. Um, well, I don't have it written down, but soon Neptune's going to go back into Pisces. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So, um, Neptune and Pisces. Yeah. Um, yeah, Neptune and Pisces has been a huge trip. Neptune is the ruler of the sign Pisces. So both these Neptune Pisces energies they also govern confusion and deception because you can become confused by something you perceive as real, right? What are movies? Movies are not real, right? But we can watch them and think they're real. We can think what we see is real on the television or on your cell phones or on your computers when you're scrolling through social media. Neptune is and Neptune and Pisces can be a period that makes humanity highly susceptible. Neptune and Pisces makes humanity highly susceptible to fall for illusions, to fall for tricks, to be easily deceived by things that they may see or hear and interpret as real. It makes everybody more susceptible to let go of logic, critical thinking, and reasoning, and go deeper into the immediate beliefs of things without having all the facts, without knowing all the facts, or even wanting all the facts. So this Neptune and Pisces transit has been what I and other astrologers have been calling a mini age of deception. So from 2012 all the way into 2025, that was enough time. That was enough time, okay? From 2012 all the way into 2025, all right? What is that? 13 years, all right? For the last 13 years, with Neptune being in Pisces, that was a lot of time to confuse and warp the fuck out of so many minds, out of so many minds, and how they are perceiving their lived experiences as a human on this planet, part of a country, part of a society. This was a huge campaign. And the biggest avenue in getting the propaganda out to the masses was through media in all forms, social media, mainstream media, and entertainment content. All right. Um, you know, something that you guys all need to consider, that you need to really all take in, because this gets really annoying too at times as being an astrologer, because a lot of the times when I'm saying something and interpreting something, I'm saying and interpreting for a mass for the masses, all right? And there are billions of people on this planet, and a lot of times I'll interpret something, and a lot of you guys, separate yourself from it. Oh, well, that's not me. Oh, well, like I'm not gonna be that way, or I already know I can see the deception, or blah blah blah, or you have something very intelligent and true and things that I agree of what you're saying, but sometimes it's delivered in a way that's kind of trying to undermine what I'm saying as if it's not valid because it doesn't pertain to you, right? It's like you can see through the puppeteering, you can see through the propaganda. And so the things that I'm pointing out and connecting to astrologically, there's an undermining of it because to you, it's not pertaining to you. But when I'm talking about these things, there are still millions and millions of fucking there's millions of Americans right now that are not like you, that don't have the same level of awareness as you, that have not gone through their shadow work, that have not gone through any dark night of the souls, that have not evolved or sought to seek any type of knowledge or information that will expand them to enter a higher playing field and seeing what's happening within society. So there are millions of people that um, that are a part of the mass hypnosis. All right, the mass hypnosis, the dream spell. Okay, and these are the people that I'm talking about, and I'm talking about it so that way we can see how this also correlates with the transits astrologically and be less susceptible and getting sucked into playing in that game because there is a greater process going on here. There is a greater cycle happening that will take lifetimes for it to play out. This is we are in a war, spiritual, psychological war, um, uh, to keep consciousness of humanity liberated that will take generations for it to complete. We want it to be now. We want it to complete now. We want full disclosure now. We want all the children saved now. We want all the truth out. We want the patents. We want the stopping of the spraying, the stopping of the manipulation of the weather. We want all of that information now. And in a way, it is here now because those of us who know it now are holding the frequency for it to happen now. However, that's not going to fucking happen. That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. There is going to have to be a process that's going to be laid out. And something being an astrologer and a strategist has helped me understand because part of being an astrologer is not just understanding the stars. When you've been doing astrology for as long as I have been doing and as passionately as I've been doing, it becomes a fucking way of life, all right? Astrology is a way of living and perceiving and acting in the world that goes in accordance with what the transits are, both collectively and for your own life, all right? So when you become as you evolve as an astrologer, by what's the word? By default, the more you evolve as an astrologer, the more you are also evolving as an alchemist. As an alchemist, understanding the elements, understanding the archetypes, understanding yourself, and understanding time, understanding the element of time and how things have to happen within time. All right. And you get to, and once you understand that, a huge part of your ego falls into the wayside. A massive part of your ego falls into the wayside because then now you get to become more objective in seeing in all the parts and the chemistry of everything that is at your disposal because you're now transcending yourself outside of time, understanding that time is a tool necessary for the alchemical process. And your ego dissolves because we want instant gratification. We want it now. We don't have the foresight to plan something for it to evolve over 30 years, right? What, 30 years, you know? So when you become an astrologer, you also become a fucking alchemist and you also become a fucking strategist in life. And so this is what I'm trying to help you guys understand here. Because this is what the opposition understands. This is the opposition doesn't play this game only within windows of years or 2 years. The opposition plays this fucking games in the perception of hundreds of years. All right. So what we're seeing, what we are experiencing now is the result of conversations and planning that has happened already over 100 fucking years ago. So this is what you also got to understand is that these people are also strategists and militant and understand cycles and the astrology. Much of what they plan is in accordance with astrological cycles. Okay. So all that being said, Neptune and Pisces from 2012 to 2025 was 13 years of propaganda to confuse the fuck out of the masses in all directions. All directions. Every choice point, there were honeypots, there were traps, there were See, because the thing is, and this is what storytelling is all about. This is what makes a great movie. This is what makes a great story to tell, is understanding human nature and the story arc of the hero's journey and how ultimately everything is a fucking love story. Just about everything in the fucking universe is a love story and the hero's journey. Okay. They know this. Mhm. And so what they've done is they fabricated a global society, a colonized global society where they've understood psychoanalytics, all right, thanks to the great work of Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, astrology, they understand human nature. Okay. And so they know that everybody is at least going to experience versions of the hero's journey with variations respected to their identity or what role they choose. Does that make sense? Like like for example, getting cheated on, right? Being in a relationship with somebody, loving somebody, trusting somebody, but then getting cheated on, right? That is something that a lot of people are going to experience in this lifetime. Damn near everyone, right? Really damn near close to everyone is going to experience that in this lifetime. And generally, it's experienced at a very young age, right? Because we're young, we're dumb, right? So some people, and and I've seen this, all right? I've seen this played out so many times, right? The white guy, right? The white guy who gets cheated on by his white girlfriend sleeping with a black guy, right? This is something that happens. This is something that happens in the hundreds of thousands all across America. There are hundreds of thousands of young white dudes that had a girlfriend, but that girlfriend, that young girlfriend, because of what media and music and things were conditioning her mind, said, I'm gonna cheat on her with a black guy because I heard black guys have bigger dicks and they fuck better, or whatever kind of propaganda, right? These are hypnotizing spells. These children, these youth, they don't know who they are, they don't know themselves, they don't know they're being puppeteered and influenced, right? So then that girl goes and sleeps with the black guy, right? And then now that white guy is experiencing some type of pain. So like, dude, you guys do not fucking sleep on what I'm telling you right now because these people that social engineer, they social engineer for these kinds of situations. They know that all types of situations are going to happen to a mass majority of different people in different colors, in different hues, and in different cultures. And then they've created ways to harvest the loosh of that and then bring them and bring them into a way where their perception gets molded because they were in a vulnerable point of pain, right? And we don't want to experience that pain. We don't want to experience that kind of rejection, that kind of betrayal. Do not fucking sleep on what I'm breaking down to you guys right now because this is legit how they mastermind so fucking much. This is what all the productions do. This is what all the production is for. This is what all the fucking entertainment production is for. Is to it's catered to the various different personalities that are going to develop. And guess what? These variations of different personalities are also variations they've created because they know, okay, there's always going to be the one guy that wants to be the jock. There's always going to be the one guy who's too afraid of being the jock, so he's going to choose to be the fucking nerd. There's always going to be the girl there's always going to be that kind of girl. There's always going to be that kind of girl. There's always going to be that kind of person. There's always going to be that kind of parent. There's always going to be this kind of individual. They know that all these characters exist. They exist in every fucking story. They exist in every household. They exist in every city. They exist in every country. All right. All these personalities, all these characters. So then how do we get them all and program all those variations? Media, movies, music, television, because we have something in our brain called mirror neurons. We reflect, we mirror. And so when we're watching shows or when we're listening to a music, we're going to choose which symbol, which personality that we want to mirror because we think it's real. We think we have a connection to that identity. We think that that's what we want to be. Okay, like that character is what's getting the girls in that movie, then that's the character that I want to mirror because I want to get the girls, right? That's we're highly influenced, unconscious beings here on this fucking planet. And you guys think we're not, but we are. And that's our fucking that's one of our biggest downfalls is we think we're not easily influenced when we're fucking are. You know how many times I'm like where I want to tell my wife to drink water, but I know if I say drink some of your water, she's not going to do it because she was told she's do it. So you know what I do instead to get her to drink water? And then you know what she does about a second after? She takes a sip of her water. Mirror neurons, unconsciously influenced by everything in our environment all the fucking time. So do not sleep on what I'm telling you right now. Back to the white boy getting cheated on by his girlfriend with the black dude, right? So then there are a number of different ways, the never number of different pathways that now that individual is going to interpret and choose, right? And how he's going to respond to that type of heartbreak. There are a number of different ways. And depending on what his environment is, what he's been already being exposed to, is what's going to really draw him down which way. So for this particular example, let's say he has a cousin or a cousin or whatever who lives in the next county who is part of a secret local Proud Boys, whites only club or whatever. Or he hops on an online forum on Reddit that where he meets other dudes who've experienced their girls being taken by black dudes, and now they're creating like an ideology or a belief or whatever that they need to, you know what I mean? So then this goes down one way. So honey pot, all those things are honey pots, and they've a lot of those things. Like let's say that boy ends up becoming a member of the KKK, right? Predestined, set up. It was set up as a honeypot, knowing that in a multitude of different ways, there were going to be young boys, young sensitive boys that will become, when as they embrace more of the real world, that will be too sensitive and experiencing the harshness and rejections. And then so then one way that they're going to, try to cope or escape from, that pain of rejection is then get themselves trapped in a honeypot, right? Get themselves trapped in a KKK honeypot. And this goes out in so many different ways, so many different ways. This is just one example, you guys. This is just one example and how this plays out. Same thing for like the trans people. The same fucking thing for like the trans people. There came a point in their life where they experienced something, and then a myriad of choice points arrived for them. And depending on what were the more bigger influences and what their mirror neurons reflected and resonated with the most, was going to determine which one of these myriad of choice points they were going to go. And they say, you know what, I belong with this group, these kinds of people, and this is kind of the things that they're validating and confirming on with me. So there are agents and masterminds in all these things, and they're all working for the same pyramid top. So you guys have to understand that from 2012, from 2025, there was a lot of propaganda pumped out. And guess what? You're one individual. You're one person, and you were not able to watch or listen to every single piece of content that was produced, where thousands of people tuned into it and ingested that propaganda when you didn't. For example, my wife, she watched a show on Netflix recently. And one of the things my wife likes to does is she likes to see who the cast is, right? She's like, "Oh, who's the cast? What's the name of that actor, that actress? Have I seen them on any other shows? Who produced it? Who's director?" She likes to look at that kind of stuff. And she was watching a show that she was really liking, and she was fond of one of the actresses, and then saw that the actress was a producer and a writer, and also made this one hit HBO show called Girls. All right. And this HBO show called Girls, um, the, I had it up earlier, but this show was created. Um, Let me see. Let's pull it up. Ah, ah, oh, oh, wow. I love that this is the exact. So this show called Girls came out April 15th, 2012. Literally the year Neptune goes into Pisces. Ah, and this show lasted for till 2017 for 5 years. For 5 years, this show Girls was out. All right. So uh when my wife discovered this show, she got really excited about it. She's like, "Oh, I want to watch this show. I'm going to subscribe for HBO so I can watch it." And she started watching it, and I mean, she completed all seasons. I think there were like five or six seasons. She's already completed it. And I watched a few episodes with her in each season. So I got to see, I wasn't like really interested in it, but if my wife was sitting down watching it and I wanted to accompany her, then I would watch it with her. So I've seen like, I don't know, maybe two episodes of every season as it developed, and I got to know the characters. And just from watching the show, a lot of things were making sense because I was like, I was like, this show is 100% propaganda. I was like, this is where it was coming from. This is where that was coming from. This is where that behavior was coming from. Oh. Like, gotta understand, people. Like, I never seen this show, never fucking heard of it until 2025. And let's see, how many viewers did Girls have? Yeah, the number of viewers for the HBO series Girls varied by episode and season, but its first season had between 181,000 and 872,000 viewers. Wow. And same numbers for UK viewers. So that was just for season one. Uh yeah, the final season, more than a million viewers. Okay. So that's a lot of fucking people. We're talking millions of people that all watch that show in different parts of the country where these characters in this story was formed. And I know I think a lot of it's based off of some girl's true story, but there was an episode in season 5 that I watched with my wife, and I was like, this was a weird episode. Was this a filler episode? What was this episode about? She's like, I don't know, it was just weird. And then towards the end of it, I was like, oh, I see. I understand the purpose of this episode. This was the episode that was telling you without telling you that right around this point of her life is where she began being recruited and recognized by someone of talent to produce influential material due to her angelic capabilities of connecting to the masses, of connecting to a particular generation. And so this is the thing. This is the thing I'm trying to tell you guys. This is the thing. I know I'm going all over the fucking place, but I'm whatever. So I hope you're all rolling with me. This is the thing you have to understand is that within the Illuminati and the Freemasons, right, is that there are a lot of different masterminds, okay? There are a lot of different masterminds. This is what I call them, the masterminds. And these are the people that I wouldn't be surprised that are either Capricorn or Aquarius people. These are the masterminds that just know things, okay? Like they know how to social engineer. These are very, very, very smart people. And there will be masterminds for like basically all different parts of cultural society, like screenplay writing, science engineering, publications, books, um, artistry, music, acting, right? There are certain masterminds that are basically talent seekers. And so these masterminds, these are high level initiates within the Freemason Illuminati fucking organizations, and that's what they're tasked to do. They're tasked to either be an item or a symbol of success within a certain field of expertise, and they are also there to recruit certain individuals to be within them. And a lot of times, those that they recruit, they become they start being groomed before they are actually recruited. So they're scouted and they're recognized for their particular niche, their particular talents, and then they're groomed, and then eventually they're recruited. And a lot of times people never really even know what they are fucking being recruited for, and they just keep naively going along with things, not realizing that their talent is being siphoned and hijacked because because we're angelics, right? We're fucking angelics. A lot of us creator beings here, we're angelics, and so that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the angels, the angelics that know how to connect, that understand the minds and the frequencies of generations or society, and that have a talent and ability to connect from a certain way and express it in a way that will be influential and palatable for those to take in. It's a gift. That's part of what's having that's part of having a gift. So these people, they scout out the angels, all right, and they scout out the angels, and they use their gifts to be able to connect to the masses in their art or whatever it is their gift is, and then uh invert it and and herd people. Anyways, I think I feel like I might be getting way too crazy for y'all. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This was her recruitment phase. Anyways, uh yeah, Neptune and Pisces. Um, this is why a lot of people are fucking like deranged right now. They've just they're so far unhinged because there's been so much propaganda, so much confusion out in the world, and with mirror neurons and everything. And this is why I don't feel bad calling people retards. Because people are fucking dumb as shit. People are fucking retarded as shit, all right? Dumb ass people. Dumb people are fucking stupid, all right? And I mean that with respect. Because majority of people have very low IQs, like really, really low IQs. They're fucking dumb. They couldn't find their way out of a well-lit maze that with fucking signs to read, all right, on how to fucking get out of the maze. This is how dumb people fucking are. Um, and the real world and the internet and what everybody is interfacing with, that's the maze. And they're just people are fucking stupid. Um, and I really mean that with respect. Um, Gosh, I am just going on and on and on. This is like going to be like a 5 hour video. So, oh my gosh, you guys, there's so much. There's so much to break down and explain to you guys right now that I don't really have all the time in the world to do it. And I like, trust me when I say that I can really, really break things down for you all. But it's hard for me because it's more so in my nature to just to just throw everything up. Which is why I need to be part of a team. I need somebody that's got more Virgo and logistics um, to help this. And oh my gosh, it's funny. Right as I said that, literally one of my fucking best friends fucking just texted me. He said, "You're too gay to exist." I'm gonna send him a picture of this. That's so fucking funny. That's so fucking funny, bro. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. See that if that's not a sign, I don't know what is, man. I need a team. I need my buddies with me. We need to work together. Fuck, man. There's so much I need to say. I haven't even gone into the Saturn. I guess I'll make a part two. I mean, I'm sorry, you guys. It's been a lot of. I've also got hit in the head at work a week ago. So I've been dealing with a concussion. Um, yeah, I've been dealing with a concussion, and yeah, this is a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna make a part two video. Um, or I'm sorry, you guys. Saturn, Pisces, and Aries. I'll talk about that, and then Uranus and Gemini, and then the Pluto Uranus trine, um, Pluto Uranus Neptune sextiles and trines. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. I barely scratched the surface, you guys. And that's all I'm ever doing when I'm creating content. It's just barely scratching the surface for y'all because, no one has time for that, right? No one's got time to fucking take in all this information. I don't even have time for myself to fucking organize all this information and try to deliver it for you. Like, the best I can do is hit record for 2 hours and see what the fuck happens coming out of this mouth, and it's all over the place. But you know, um, things are changing. Things are changing for me in my life. Things have been changing for a while, and I'm almost done. I'm almost done going through a major, major closing cycle here. So it is in my hopes and wishes moving into next year that my life, my schedule becomes a lot more stable in itself, where I can um, uh, continue to grow and try to be better in being an astrologer available for you all. So with that being said, I'm just gonna cut it abruptly. I'm sorry, everybody. I'll come back with more information. Okay, bye.